Ha ha! You better choose yourself and let's get it. Welcome to another episode on the Choose Yourself channel, dedicated to triggering you to choose yourself. We talking about accountability, relatability, and humility. They don't call me Humble Hakeem for nothing. They never did, but you could now, because I done evolved into my best version. The person I was supposed to be before the world tried to make me someone I'm not. And it took some time through the choose yourself process for me to figure out what it was that kept triggering me to go back to the old me. And that's the first step in the choose yourself process. So it comes down to embracing your story, finding out how to implement the choose yourself process to break free and find your balance and persevere through the challenge of personal evolution. We will have some solo episodes where I'll be helping y'all understand the choose yourself process, providing some perspective, resources, and conversation. Now, this podcast will be a combination of solo episodes with just me, and I'll also be having special guests on. So if you like what you hear, you can tap in to the Choose Yourself community. We meet on Zoom with the CYC, Strongest Dolphins in the Sea, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. EST to grow with other self-choosers. So if you're struggling with some things from your past, this community is for you, because we all struggle with something, but how long does it last? Come on now. And if you can't laugh at your pain in the dark days, someone else will laugh at you once it shows in your energy. Because it will always resurface if you don't tap into your purpose. I ain't playing. Now, you can go to the gym to exercise for your body, or come here for the mental gym to exercise for your mind. That's why we say you got a GYM, and that's grow your mind with exercise. Most people technically don't need a detox from people. They need a detox from their patterns. The patterns are the ones that keep attracting the same people. It's all about you versus you. But the better version got to win every time. So instead of running from the pain, recognize it. Because if you refuse to face it, it's going to keep finding your address like a stalker. And if you don't exercise, eventually you're going to need a walker. And you don't want that, do you? Come on now. This episode is about pillar one of the choose yourself process. The trigger point that needs to be turned to a turning point. Otherwise, you will always revisit your breaking point. And that's the point. It's to turn your triggers into evolution. They're intended to make you aware of the parts of you that ain't healed yet. They're not intended for you to hold on to them and then start lashing out at others, blaming and complaining, playing the victim. Now, you can be a victim, but you ain't got to play the victim. Shitty stuff has happened to all of us. But if you want to keep moving through the world as if it's going to happen again, well, you're going to be missing out on the beauty of life. And life is quite beautiful, ain't it? So put some gratitude in your attitude. Come on now. And before you can choose yourself, you got to meet yourself where you're at and put the systems in place. Now, the systems I developed from my very last trigger point that I turned to my turning point, I think I had about, 10, 12 trigger points in my life. We'll say 12, a dozen trigger points, 3 dark places. Now, you got to be able to put the systems in place to be able to turn that trigger point into a turning point. And it starts with preventative action. And in the Choose Yourself movement, we talk about the foundation. That's the time dedicated to the evolution of the character you want to be. So you can focus on intention over emotion when the world gets chaotic. You see the world right now. What are you doing to prepare your mind for the adversity that is to come? Just like they build these skyscrapers up so tall. They got a deep foundation. Just like when you want your makeup to be on fleek. You got to lay the foundation. Same thing with your life. Come on now. You see, if accountability makes you angry, if this podcast triggers you into feeling a type of way, well, you need to stay tuned in and push through, because people going to trigger you all the time. All right? Now think of it this way. People going to judge you. They're going to call your names. They're going to tell you what not to do. But if we hold on to that expectation and we live our life in those parameters, well, whose life are we living? We're living their life. Some people ain't meant to last. Some people are meant to be outgrown when their true colors are shown and your cover is blown and you become the real authentic version. They are here for a season and a reason. And that's about it. And if you don't choose yourself, basically committing treason. And I think that's a sin. Come on now. A rich person wouldn't get mad at somebody for calling them broke because they know they ain't broke. But a fat person will probably be offended if you call them fat because it's true. Now, if somebody calls you something and you don't agree with it, but it makes you feel a type of way, you need to do the work because there might be some truth beneath that. And that's what we're here for, doing the work. So instead of trying to defend and deflect and project, do the work on the inside because the people outside ain't going to change no time soon. That's why they're here. Everybody's got them. But awareness beats avoidance every time. Now, if you keep attracting the same type of people in your life, you probably didn't do the healing. If we don't turn the trigger point into a turning point by doing the healing before the adversity, then we'll always evolve because we're forced to change. But what did you do beneath the surface? You can put up a mask, but the mask won't last. You can numb it all you want. But once that breaking point comes again, if you didn't increase your awareness about why you broke in the first place, you're going to be broken again. So it's about implementing the systems before the adversity. It's about developing the characteristics before somebody tests your character so you can really be who you're supposed to be. Now, chapter 1 in my book is called The Mirror's Truth. I've had several times in my life where people have told me something about myself and it stuck with me. People talked about my big head. I was self-conscious about it. One time I had my uncle tell me, don't nobody want to hear your story. I didn't want to tell it for years. But now I wrote my book and embraced it. And guess who appreciates my story? That same damn uncle. I was self-conscious about my head for years, but then I built muscle and I worked on my posture. And now who appreciates my head? Everybody. Because it was born to fit my body, but I had to turn my body into the body it was supposed to be. Okay? The same folks who say, protect your energy, forget that denial drains more energy than honesty. If you're trying to protect your energy by cutting people off, that's fine. But what hurt? What made you cut them off? Because that part right there is what has to be healed. So then you can identify those people who are trying to come back and trigger you again before it's too late. If you don't do the healing and you got the same people in your life over and over triggering you over the same shit, you are attracting them. You didn't heal it. There's something you doing that keeps allowing these type of people to say, oh, I could take advantage of this person. Oh, I can manipulate this person. Oh, I could lead this person on. Something about you is still presenting that image. So it's not about, oh, men ain't shit. All women are hoes. Everybody from this place is this. No, that's you. That is you. But also, stop going to them places. Stop exposing yourself to them things if you didn't do the healing yet. But the true healing comes when you can go back to the places that used to trigger you, back to the places you used to relapse in, and still stand on your name. Now, let me go briefly into a couple of my trigger points. When I was 16, I lost my brother, triggered into a dark place, then I masked it. Then I played sports. But because I masked it, my outside matched my inside, anger, resentment, fear. So I quit basketball senior year, quit track, played D1 full ride, quit that, went D2, got into a fight, had surgeries, dropped out for a year, had 5 more knee surgeries. Then I got to a trigger point, but I didn't do the healing. So I was triggered to choose myself. I went back to school, but I didn't do the healing. So after getting my degree and trying to play pro ball, I broke my ankle. Guess what? Back into my dark place. Because that's another breaking point that then surfaced the anger and fear and resentment that came from years prior from losing my brother. I didn't do the healing. I was masking it and numbing it. So there's multiple ways you can go into a dark place. Dark place is just in the mind. That's all. It's all in the mind. It's about a lack of gratitude, lack of accountability. That's the dark place. Blaming, complaining, lack of faith. It feels dark because you feel alone. Because you are. Well, God is still in there, but he's waiting on you to show him the light by choosing yourself. Now, I realized I wasn't mad at the world as much as I was mad at myself, feeling shame and guilt and anger. And so now in the third dark place, I developed the choose yourself process where the very next trigger point, when I was in solitude for 8 days on my second 8-month stint, that was when I took accountability. I stopped blaming my dad, the judge, my injuries, racism, blah, blah, blah. Stop blaming shit. And once that happened, I turned that trigger point into a turning point. Now, after you do that, there's the next 4 pillars, which we'll get into in the next 4 episodes. My next breaking point was I was working for my company and it shut down. That was my first time working for a company that shut down and then being jobless. That was another breaking point for me. But I already did the healing and I felt those emotions before and I identified them as the ones that put me into my dark place. So I did not allow it to happen because I implemented the choose yourself process from the previous dark place. The previous trigger point, I turned to a turning point. Then the next breaking point became a catapult for radical transformation. So until you're done dealing with your own shit and you implement the systems, you will be triggered to choose yourself from the dark place because you'll just get fed up with it. But how do you end up making those changes for good? Systems. Gotta have systems. Gotta have boundaries. Gotta know your balance. How do you find those? Well, that's something I teach on multiple levels. It's different for everybody. That's why the one-on-one coaching is important. Finding a mentor to help you through that initial transition. Now, it ain't got to be me, but it got to be somebody to help you see the parts of you that you keep hiding. Because they hidden down there under the subconscious, deep in your soul, deep in your heart, in the gut of your pit. I mean, the pit of your gut, maybe in your pits too. I hope you got some D.O. for your B.O. All right. Now, once I stopped cursing the pain and questioning it, it turned into a direction. I started strengthening my faith in something greater than me, faith in my purpose, faith in myself, faith in everything that was developed through sports that I could no longer play, faith in the purpose of my little brother who was gone, faith in the purpose of not having a dad, faith in the purpose of being a felon for 11 years. Started having faith in that. Like, what was that? Okay, what did I get from that? But it wasn't until I took radical accountability that I was able to identify those things. And that's how you turn the trigger points into turning points to prevent the next breaking point. That's what it is. So how do you know you get triggered? Well, if you get defensive when somebody corrects you, that's what it is. A good way to handle that is let them correct you. Say, oh, that's an interesting thought. And then just don't pay attention to it. Fuck them. Oh, interesting thought. Interesting that you think that. You can even do that. Say something. I think you're sensitive, you're egotistical, you're cocky. Interesting. And then pay attention to your feelings. If you feel like, what? I got to defend myself. I need to tell them I'm not egotistical, I'm not sensitive, I'm not. Then it might be a trigger or something. Now, there's a difference between having zero tolerance for disrespect and allowing someone to disrespect you. So be mindful in that balance too. Because people just start talking reckless. You better stick up for yourself because otherwise people going to keep talking shit. So find that balance about, is it important enough for me to stick up for myself respectfully with accountability? Or is it something that I could just let go in one ear and out my ass? Get your ass out of here. I don't want to hear that shit. That's why I came out my ass, because what you was talking was shit. God dang it. A second identifier of relatable triggers is when you shut down, especially during intimacy. It could be somebody at your work telling you to do something, or your boss or your mom or your dad, and you don't like it and you shut down. But likely when you have feelings for somebody and you expect them to treat you a type of way, and they remind you of your past, or they remind you of the unhealed parts, you shut down from a lack of awareness, a lack of accountability, and a lack of belief in your ability to defend yourself accurately without losing control. So be mindful of that. If you get defensive, you shut down. A third key to understanding if you're getting triggered is over-explaining, just to be liked. Why are you talking so much? They just try to dog your ass and question your character. Now you're talking all this extra mess, trying to talk yourself in a circle, out a hole, but now you done put a square into a circle hole. Now nobody understands what you're saying. You done said too much. Now you really look guilty. So be mindful of that. If you're going to stand up for yourself because you have zero tolerance for disrespect, you ain't got to say too much. Just be assertive. Fourth key to identifying the triggers is when you need to feel like you're in control. Now, I experienced a version of all these in my life. And I could still identify some times now where I feel like I needed to do some of these things. And I can also identify in others who have done that in my presence. But this is how we increase the awareness. Another key is to do the research and reflection on your day. Nighttime, reflect on the times that somebody shifted your emotions or your energy was off. Figure out what was done, how did I feel, what I felt, and what may have made me feel that way, which is another important part of embracing your story so that when you do the reflection, you know where it comes from. If you're running from your story and you're like, this person pissed me off today, let me figure out why. Likely gonna start blaming and complaining and playing the victim because there was unhealing. And now the trigger point done turned into a breaking point because you didn't take the trigger point to turn it to a turning point to turn your life around. This is what I'm saying. Embrace your story so that when you hit these trigger points, you could turn them to a turning point because you're triggered by something that happened in your story. If you don't embrace your story, it's going to be trigger point, breaking point, trigger point, breaking point, trigger point, breaking point, done with life. Trigger point, breaking point, trigger point, breaking point, depression, anxiety, trigger point, done. Come on now. We got to find the accountability in our story and figure out what the hell is going on inside. That's why you got the GYM, and that's grow your mind. So if you're looking to embrace your story, you're looking to identify the triggers, tap in with the CYC. You can hear testimonials from all these other self-choosers who definitely have chosen themselves and embraced their story and now turn it into a business. That's the fifth pillar of the choose yourself process, is to turn it into a business. So next time you're triggered, don't post a quote. Answer these questions. When that heat hits your chest, pause. Ask, what am I protecting? Why do I feel like I need to protect something right now? What am I proving? What am I pretending? Protecting, proving, pretending. 3 P's. Next time you feel a type of way about what somebody says or something that's done in the world, ask yourself the 3 P's. What am I protecting? What am I proving? What am I pretending? And if you can't do it in the moment, find some time in your foundation at night so you can increase your emotional awareness and resiliency and stop attracting the same people that put you through the bullshit. All right? Now, triggers are truth alarms, okay? Every time you answer one, your piece gets promoted. So ask yourself the 3 P's, set the foundation, reflect, actually write it down so you can see how your emotional state has been throughout the week. This is the self-work that people don't do often. Developing a character because there was expectations and judgments from their past that got a filter now in which they see the world. So now they're living other people's lives because they don't want to disrupt this person. They don't want to offend this person. They don't want to disappoint this person. Well, damn it, what about yourself? That's what it means to choose yourself, all right? Now, next episode, we're going into pillar 2, evaluate your environment, mindful consumption on all 5 levels. So we got your story. You can embrace your story with my book. I wrote my story. Then I wrote the principles about it that will apply to your life. And then I have some soul work and inner size questions to help you embrace your story. If you're looking to embrace your story and figure out where the triggers come from, get the book. It's only $25. It's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And then please leave a review. Next week, we're going to evaluate your environment. So we got the 5 pillars of the choose yourself process. Trigger points. 1, evaluate your environments. Number 2. Number 3 is set the foundation. Number 4, self-investment. Number 5, contribution and creation. And that's how we do. So you can join me every Tuesday at 10 a.m. on Zoom. Tap in Big Dream Hakeem. You can tap in on YouTube to the Choose Yourself channel and find that link, or you can just DM me. I got you. We got the Costa Rica retreat, June 18th. Book is available now, and I'm going to leave you with this. Stop blaming the mirror for the reflection. You can't change the mirror. That's like trying to change the projector screen when you don't like the movie. You got to change the projector. That's you. When it comes to the mirror's truth, the first chapter of my book, it's about what projections of others are you now projecting because you didn't heal it. It's about whose voices do you hear when you look in the mirror. We had a guest on the CYC, Thomas. He called those mirror people. What are they saying about you in the mirror? Is it good? Is it bad? How are you treating your inner child? All right, so stop blaming the mirror for your reflection. You got to clean the glass, keep growing, wash your hands, and wash your ass. You better choose yourself and let's get it.